Hi everyone and welcome to For Teachers. If you have been following this channel for a while, you might be aware of the fact that I have been working on my very first ebook, or I guess not ebook if you choose to print it out like I've got it right here right now. And I've been working really hard to try and create a document that will help teachers who are going into their first year of teaching. So I thought today I would take the opportunity to present my book to you and show you a little bit of what's inside, talk about some of the pages, talk about some of the ideas that have gone into the creation of this document, and also just to give you a little update on my current teaching situation. If you do follow For Teachers on Instagram, you might have spotted that I posted a picture the other day letting you guys know that I am not going to be staying in the current school that I am working at for the next academic year. In fact, I actually had my last day of teaching last Friday. Today is Sunday, so I'm still actually sort of processing the fact that I'm not going to be returning to that school. And for anyone who has done a transition from one job to another as a school teacher, especially after working somewhere for a number of years, then you will know that it can feel very strange. It kind of feels like you're moving home, like you're moving out of a place that you've given a lot of time to, and you're moving away from a community that you've sort of built connections with, and the students that you won't see again, and families and teachers that you've worked alongside. So I'm still coming to terms with that, and I'm going to talk a little bit in today's video about that and just sort of let you know what my plans are. I'm just going to try and make it quite chatty and informal and present something that I'm really proud of to you guys today. Just a very quick side note to let you know that I am filming this in Hong Kong, and it is summertime in Hong Kong, and it is absolutely boiling hot today. It's one of the hottest days I've ever witnessed in Hong Kong. So I've turned off the air conditioner. I'm going to be turning it on every 10 minutes just to try and get a quick blast of air, but it is like sitting inside a fishbowl in this room today. Bear with me if I start to look a little bit flustered. It's partly because I'm excited about my book, and it's partly just I'm very warm. Also, if you choose to watch the video through until the very end, I will reveal details of a competition that I'm going to run on this exact video, letting you know a way that you can win a copy of this document as soon as I have it ready for release. What I have got in my hand right now is a draft version of the book that I'm going to be putting out onto the internet over the summer for brand new teachers. It is the first year of teaching guide, and it says it's a guide for NQTs who are about to start their teaching journey. For anyone who is unfamiliar with the term NQT, in the UK that is what we call brand new school teachers. It stands for newly qualified teacher, and the entire book is really catered towards teachers who are starting that first year of teaching. I imagine it probably would be quite useful for a student teacher as well, but the audience that I'm trying to hit with this is very much people in their first year of teaching, and I really do want it to feel like a helpful tool and not something that you feel pressure to read, and it's not something that someone is telling you have to read. I actually decided to include inside this book some pages of self-reflection, so there are opportunities for you to fill out sections of the book as well, because when I did my first year of teaching, which was over 6 years ago now, I'm going into my 7th year of teaching next year, so yeah, it will be a really long time since I did my first year of teaching. And I don't really think I documented the process very well. I had a diary that I would fill out, but mostly that would just be the meetings that I had to attend and things that I had to get done for my class. Whereas I've decided to include a couple of pages inside here for you to write down things like what you're looking forward to, what you're nervous about, and words that describe the feelings that you are feeling before you step into the classroom for the first time. This is the front cover of the book. It might change slightly before the final draft is released of the book, but it gives you just a little overview of what's going to be inside. It says, how many different emotions will you feel as an NQT? Even if you are someone who prefers to go with the flow, I would like to think that some of the tips, tricks, and advice provided in this guide will help to support you during that all-important first year. Keep it hidden inside your drawer or allow it to sit proudly on your desk. There is information about a range of topics, including subject knowledge, time management, and even for your first lesson observations. Can you see the sun has just come out? It's getting so hot in this room right now, but I'm going to plow on through because I really do want you to see this guide. This is still an early draft. It isn't completely finished yet, but I've got my contents page, which will be filled out with things other than example, and teach when I have finalised the page numbers that I will be using. But I have some information all about my NQT year, which was taken in 2013. that's in there just if you want a little bit of an introduction, or you're just interested to find out more about my own personal experience before starting to think about your own journey. So I've got your first year of teaching information, which is an overview of the year. And I know that might sound really obvious, but when I was a first year teacher, I wasn't completely aware of how the terms are normally split up in schools, and just little bite-sized pieces of information like that, which may answer some of the questions that you want to ask your school, but you feel a little bit silly asking because you think you should know that already. I did not know all the term dates. I did not know which weeks you would normally get off as a school teacher. I couldn't remember it from my own primary school, so that's just good to know, and it's things that I probably wanted to know in my first year that I thought you might find interesting. Then I have a page all about being an NQT, your mentor, collaboration. Following that, I have some information all about your first class, the class size you might expect to have, the way that your timetable might be structured, and a little bit of information about things like that. The next page is all about support staff, so any teaching assistants you might be lucky enough to have as part of your classroom. I've included a bit of a suggestions box with ideas for getting to know the support staff in your school, and as well as some information about the expectations of support staff and ways that you can set up your interventions to best support the students and make effective use of the people that might be part of your classroom. Following that, I have a double page spread all about classroom routines, and this part of the book also includes a do's and don't section with some information about things that I would suggest trying with your class when you first meet them in order to build a really positive relationship with your students. Turns out the book makes a really good fan as well if you're ridiculously warm in Hong Kong heat. So multiple uses of this book are available should you wish to use it in this way. It's very warm in here. Following on from that, I have the all-important lesson observation page, which is probably the most requested thing I get on this channel. I don't know what it is about being observed by another teacher, of all people, that seems to scare you so much as a school teacher. I suppose it's that feeling of anything could happen, and that feeling of I should have prepared this differently, or I should have done things differently, and that kind of reflective way that we are as school teachers, and how we often feel as though we've not portrayed our best abilities in lesson observation. But I've chosen to include some tips and advice on these pages that I hope will help to calm your nerves and make you feel a little bit better about your first observations. I've also included a checklist of things that I always make sure I have ready before anyone comes into my classroom to observe a lesson. Just little things that I've learned over the years and learned through doing observations myself, because I've mentored lots of student teachers in the past. It's just sort of things that I've come to acknowledge as quite professional, and things that I feel as though if they're in place, the lesson observation will run much more efficiently. So I've put some of my ideas down on that page. Hopefully that will help you out as well. Following that, I have a section all about work-life balance, which of course is something that's just massive. It's something that I'm asked about all the time on For Teachers. I have also included a way to organise your to-do list into sections that will help you to stay on top of your workload. So that's in there, and hopefully it will help you out as well. Following that, I have some information about different websites and apps that I've found useful as a school teacher in the past. You've got a little space at the bottom there where you can write your own ideas for websites and apps down. So if you go to a meeting and it's an NQT meeting and lots of teachers are sharing different websites that they found useful, or if you go to a meeting in your school and they're talking about different things that they use in their school, if you write it down in here, hopefully you can revisit that and you can go back to it over the course of the year. Towards the end of my book is probably my favourite section that I have chosen to create. It is your NQT year predictions and your memories that you're going to have to look back on in the future. What I love most about these pages is the fact that you've got a little bit of space to just sort of get your ideas on the page, and if you want, you could do this during the summer holidays. If you're setting up your classroom, you could spend some time just gathering your thoughts and ideas, and you can look back on this several years in the future and see if you've completely changed as an educator. I can guarantee you, if I had had a copy of this book in my NQT year and I had filled out the answers to these questions and looked back on it 3 years later, 4 years later, or even 6 or 7 years later as I'm coming up to now, I would have completely different answers for the majority of these questions. An example of one of the questions is, which lessons are you most excited to teach? The ones that I was probably most excited to teach are possibly not my favourite lessons to teach now. This part of the book is something that you can choose choose to share with other NQTs if you so wish. You could add it to your social media, you could put your answers on your Instagram story and share it with other teachers and see how their answers would compare to yours. Or if you would prefer to keep it personal to yourself and you don't wish to share it with anyone, you don't have to. I want people to use that section of the book in any way that they see fit. I think my camera is sliding to the side and I'm slowly rotating. It's really hot and I'm going to try and wrap the video up as soon as I can. There is also some space at the bottom of the book for you to add your own first day of teaching story, for you to reflect and look back on after the year has gone by. Just somewhere where if something funny happens or embarrassing happens, or just maybe if it's a surprising day and it doesn't quite go the way you thought it would, or maybe if it does, you can make some notes there and then you can look back on it in the next couple of years and hopefully it will continue to make you smile. Just so you know, I am actually going on holiday today. I am flying to America today. In fact, I have to go to the airport in about an hour, so I'm going to start talking really quickly. Hopefully you can keep up with me. My plan for the book is to try and get it out in the UK about 2 weeks before you start your first year of teaching. Hopefully that's quite a good time for newly qualified teachers because you will maybe be back from your summer holidays and some of you might be going into schools to get to know your classroom, and hopefully it will be a good time of year for you to be reading this and starting to fill it out if you wish. I haven't fully decided on how or where I will put this up for download, but I do have a few different ideas. If anyone has a suggestion for me, please let me know. My plan for the book is to keep the price as low as I possibly can. When I started my first year of teaching, I did not have very much money and I definitely wouldn't have been able to start buying documents here, there and everywhere. My plan is to try and keep the price less than £5. I hope that you think that's reasonable for a 25-page document that I've worked really hard on, and there are a lot of free support videos on the 4Teachers channel. In fact, there are almost 100 videos on here now for you to use to help and support your first year of teaching. So hopefully you guys don't mind paying that in order to help and support myself and part of the 4Teachers channel. So much of that money will be going back into creating more helpful resources for teachers as well anyway. And as soon as I have details of how you can physically go and purchase this document, I will send them out. I will put them on Instagram. I will probably put it on a YouTube video as well so that it's clear for everyone. You can take the document, download it, and you can have it on your iPad as an ebook document that you flick through. If you would like to print the document and have it inside a file, a little bit like I have done with this one, then please go ahead and do that. Even better if you can put it on social media and share it with some other people and let them know if you found it useful. Hopefully we can try and help as many NQTs as we possibly can through the sharing of this book and the sharing of this resource. Because I feel like I'm actually going to bake inside this room and I only have about an hour before I need to leave for the airport, I'm not going to go into too much detail about my new school in this video because I think the video is longer than I anticipated it would be. But just to sum up, I am leaving my job of 3 years in an international school in Hong Kong and I am moving to a new international school, which is a really big 7-form entry school. I'm going to be working as part of a co-teacher partnership where there are 2 teachers in the classroom working together. So that's going to be completely new for me. I promised to document some of the journey and I promised to give some information on this channel with hopefully some classroom setup and a little bit of my new environment, and hopefully I can restart the teacher vlogs as well. So if you are looking forward to that, or you are excited for that, or maybe you just want to give me some encouragement for my new job, please click subscribe underneath this video to become part of the 4Teachers community. Please give the video a thumbs up if you can. It really helps the channel to grow. And if you would like to be in with a chance of winning one of 2 free copies of my book that I am going to be sending out via email, just leave me a comment down below. Let me know if you're excited, let me know if you're going to be a new teacher this year, let me know what year group you're going to be teaching, or just say hello. I don't really mind what you want to say. Just leave me a comment down below and I will be choosing 2 of those people to email out very early copies of this book as soon as I have got it finished. I have a 14-hour flight coming up in the next couple of hours, so I've got plenty of time to proofread and check all my spelling mistakes and get the document completely ready for release, and I am so excited to be sharing this with you all. Thank you so much for your support as always, and for supporting the channel and for your encouragement and kind messages. It really helped to boost me while I was writing this document. Have a wonderful summer, teachers, and I will speak to you again soon.